Hello, George. Rebecca, hi. What a good, calm energy you have.
It'll change.
You mean after this meeting?
I have some other things to do too, so. But you're nice and calm.
I try to be.
George Hahn, Associated Press. Did you have fun doing this movie?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Immensely fun. It has been such a ride when it comes to challenging yourself physically.
Yes.
Working alongside Tom Cruise, this is his baby, his franchise, but also to be able to find your own chair in an already established group of characters. Christopher McQuarrie, who's just a phenomenal storyteller. I miss it.
You miss it,
I
which
miss it.
could mean that you will be knocking on the door on a future occasion.
We don't know that. No. Actually, I haven't, someone asked me that, and I haven't actually been thinking about it. It's for me, right now, I'm looking at the months of work that we've done and reminiscing it, because when you're in it, I can talk for myself, when I'm in it, I throw myself into it, and I challenge myself, and I do as much as I can. And it's tiring, and it's exhausting, and it's exhilarating, and it's intoxicating. And then now, I'm sort of demissioning.
Of course.
Realizing what actually has happened. I'm not in a state of mind to think longer than what's going to happen in a second.
You talked about the physicality of this production. Did you do most of your own stunts on this? So you ride bikes?
I managed to get, yes, I got to train bikes, but on the scenes where they have the serpentine roads,
Right.
the helicopter shots, they brought in, of course, the best of the best. I had Jenny, who is one of the best drivers ever.
Right.
And I got to see her drive that bike. And I mean, basically there's one mistake and you know, a bit of bandage is needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Tom does it.
Yeah, and you did a lot of the other, I don't want to call them stunts, much
What would you
more
call
than
it?
stunts. I'd call them feats of daring, maybe, including some of the fight scenes. Do you have
Yes.
training in?
I hadn't had any training. When I got the part and I arrived in London, a car picked me up and we went to the gym, and I had 6 hours a day, 6 days a week of Pilates and running and the choreography of stunt work that was coming up.
Right.
Because it's basically learning a routine and also training to have the strength to carry out the scene that is needed.
Right.
It's very tiring. Hats off to anyone who does this. I had never understood the physicality and the exhaustion that lies behind to create something that you will see for a second on television or film.
Right. And I imagine some of these feats you needed to do more than once, right?
Oh, many times. Many times, different angles,
Right.
takes. Sometimes, you know, I would do a killer thigh move where you jump up and you whip someone down.
Right.
You couldn't really get up because there's no harness in that shot. That's one take, and you get up and down. As many takes as it takes until you get it.
How did this experience compare to your past cinema?
It has probably flourished. Flourished? Is that a word? Flourished.
Flourish.
It has flourished.
Uh-huh.
We should do this in Swedish.
Right.
My experience in film. I mean, I've had the chance to play incredible female characters,
Right.
and they've all been strong in different ways. And this one just adds to it. I'd never done a physical part before, so the linear work is just, it's fab.
So, where do you see your next cinema adventure taking you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'll see. I think after we've done this tour, I'm just going to demission for a week, and then we'll see what I throw myself into or off.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. Good luck with what you have next on the schedule.
Done it before.
I've done it before.
I thought
Yes,
so.
it's all part of the job.
Absolutely. I'm George John, Associated Press. Thanks for doing this.
Pleasure.
What's it like working with this crew?
This is the greatest, hardest working crew you're ever going to work with in your entire life.
Describe in some detail what that means. 14-hour days?
Oh, no, 12, sometimes 18-hour days. And when we're working with 2 units, it can go on even longer than that. Really dedicated, but really we had a great amount of fun. Everybody loves what they're doing on this movie.
Were there any glitches in this production? I mean, it's very smooth. It's great.
No, there's a glitch every day, and that's
Okay.
but if you wake up in the morning knowing that a glitch is coming, when the glitch happens, you say, "Oh, okay, there was the glitch."
I'm going to ask this, Tom, of course, and you've heard this one before, but how difficult was that Airbus scene?
The preparation for it was very difficult, and the stress of actually shooting it was a little intense.
Was everybody prepared to do it again once if it had failed?
Oh, we did it again. We did it. We did it a number of times over 2 days.
Now, you know, of your experience, you're not a newbie here. How does this shoot compare to some of the other things you've done?
This was far and away the most intense shoot I'd ever worked on. I was writing the script while we were shooting the movie, and had never done anything like that before. And then just the sheer size of the movie was enormous.
And can you tell me a little bit about the interaction of? I mean, you've got the Mission Impossible crew; they know each other, but obviously there are always new faces. Rebecca, for one.
Yes.
Some of the others. How did that work?
Well, it was great to bring back Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg and Jeremy Renner from previous movies. Tom, obviously, and then bringing Rebecca into it as someone who was outside of the team and didn't answer to them, just created a new dynamic. And we really wanted to do that. We wanted to introduce you to a new look at the team.
Any plans to work with Tom again, or is it too early to
We
discuss
talk
that?
about it all. It's kind of just one long movie for me and him. We've never really formally decided to work together. We just seem to fall into each other's rhythm, and we're already talking about what we're going to do next.
And what's that?
Oh, we don't know yet.
Okay.
We're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
probably there'll be obviously more Mission Impossible series.
It would all depend on how this one does.
Projections?
I hope it does well.
Well, what's
You
your-
tell me. How do you
well,
think it's going to do?
You know, I think it's a great movie. But
Okay, good.
all of them are. So
Okay, that's
yeah.
it. That's all we can ask for.
What's the competition like this time around?
This is a really intensely competitive year. It's pretty nerve-wracking. It's a great field with lots of really great movies. So, you know.
Any recommendations?
I haven't seen anything. I've just been reading about them. I've been making this movie all year.
Right, but you highly recommend this one, obviously.
I highly recommend this one.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. But I'm biased.
Yeah. Is there any genre beyond this kind of action-packed stuff that you're fond of?
Yes, I mean, I started out doing, much smaller sort of independent films and crime noir. I've done historical movies, science fiction, you name it, I'm into it.
But you don't have a particularly favorite genre?
No, I just like making movies. I really like making movies. I love to be challenged. I'd love to try anything.
Yeah, it shows. It really does.
Oh, thank you.
Now, Tom is kind of wedded to the Mission Impossible format, but he's done other great things too.
Yeah.
Could you see you teaming up with him and going outside of Mission Impossible format to do something different?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done. This is the 5th time we've worked together, from Valkyrie to Jack Reacher
Right.
to this movie, Edge of Tomorrow.
Right.
It's really, for us, it's just about story and character. It doesn't really matter where it's set or what the genre.
How difficult is this to come up with these, at first sight, implausible plots, which then kind of come together?
That is a big challenge. Coming up with these action sequences is really tricky. You've got a long history with this franchise, and you're trying to constantly come up with something new. And fortunately, the technology is always evolving.
Right.
So there's ways to shoot things now that you couldn't do even a few years ago.
Do you guys work backwards? I know some writers do. In other words, do do you know how things will end and then tack things on, or does it start in the middle? Or
normally, it's my rule to start with the ending, know where you're going. And on this movie, we never did. We were always trying to figure out what the ending was as we were shooting it, and so it was much a surprise to us as it hopefully is to everybody else.
And how, let's say, how often did you have to make a turn somewhere because you had your basic signposts, but then it just didn't work the way you expected it to?
It changed every day. As soon as we made one adjustment, as soon as we improved a scene and adjusted a character, it had a ripple effect that affected the entire movie. So we were constantly adapting throughout making this movie.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Lovely to meet you. Thanks a lot. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
George. Hello there. Come on in
Nice to
to my hot
see
room.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm George Hahn of the Associated Press, and we know who you
I'm
are.
Simon Pegg of
Absolutely.
Mission Impossible.
How did you get started in this, not the business, but in this line of work, Mission Impossible line of work?
I got a call from J.J. Abrams one day. I was in my office in London writing Hot Fuzz with Edgar Wright, and the phone rang, and somebody said, "It's J.J. Abrams for you." And I was like, "What do you mean, J.J. Abrams, J.J. Abrams?" From Alias, as it was then. And they said yes. And so I chatted to him on the phone, and he sort of said, "Hey, I like Shaun of the Dead, and I think it would be really fun for you to come out and be in Mission Impossible 3. And I said, "Okay, then." And he sent me the whole of Lost, the first season of Lost on DVD to watch, just to get an idea of who he was and what he did. And it was awesome, of course. And then I went and did that movie, and we became firm friends. And he cast me in Star Trek, and we've been friends ever since. And I didn't ever know that Benji was going to go from being this sort of bit part cameo to a fully fledged secret agent, but here we are.
Do you find that your focus on Benji is affecting other engagements, other roles that you're taking?
No, not at all. Everything kind of fits in quite nicely. Benji, this film came up at a point when I know there was a moment when, because obviously it's both Paramount, Star Trek and Mission Impossible are both Paramount productions. There was a moment when I remember JJ said to me, they probably want you to do them simultaneously. And I couldn't imagine how that would ever be possible. But, just by sheer luck and chance that I was able to do one and then the other. And it's something I really relish. When I'm on Mission Impossible, I don't want to be doing anything else. I love doing these big movies as much as I do the smaller sort of personal ones. Every film has to be undertaken with the same degree of commitment and professionalism and love. Otherwise, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Mission Impossible is basically action-packed adventure. I think there's some people trivialize it, but it's a very smooth-working epic somehow, and it's also quite creative in the sense that thinking up implausible, at first sight implausible plots that work out must be terrible brain work. It also must be difficult to make some of these things work, because they do seem implausible at first, but they do work. So how much work for you is that?
It's always, you're always dealing with an absolute when you have the title, because it's Mission Impossible. So you have to create something which does seem impossible in some way. That often comes down to the writing. We had great writers on this screenplay, not least Chris McQuarrie, our director, who was a great screenwriter, and was able to really invest the script with a sense of impossibility and adventure, but also with character and things that made the characters feel more relatable and more real. You can't have action on that scale without caring about who's involved. Otherwise, it's just numbing. You don't get anything from, no matter how spectacular action is, if you don't care about the people that are involved in that action or are jeopardized by it, then it's meaningless. And I think what Chris understands really clearly is the need to have a human story at the heart of it all.
Absolutely. Are the regulars in the series friends off screen? I mean, you probably don't see each other that much off screen, but do you keep in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've known Tom for 10 years, and I consider him a friend, and I'm always very happy to see him. Likewise, Jeremy and Ving, and now Rebecca, who joined us this time and just owned the thing. She just walked into it like she had been in it for 100 years. She's such a talent and such a sort of mesmerizing screen presence. Yeah, I absolutely. We always keep in touch. I email Tom sometimes if I'm doing a running sequence in a film. If I have to run, I'll email and tell him I'm doing a sprint, and he gives me a bit of a pep talk about keeping my head down and my legs pumping.
He's the man for that.
He is.
He's
the sprinter.
Absolutely. You mentioned Rebecca coming in and kind of gelling with the core group, if you will. Does that happen regularly with people who come in, let's say, for one of the series?
Yeah, it depends on them, really. The group is very open. It's not like a closed thing. It's not a clique. We're always happy to have new people in. So if they want to join in and feel part of it, then, and they invariably do, then it's a very easy thing for them to do. I think Rebecca brought a real confidence and skill with her that was kind of irresistible. She's also really fun to be around and someone that you would want on your team. So it was very easy for her to just, fit right in.
What's the next Mission Impossible?
I don't know. I'll have to wait and see if there is one. I mean, hopefully there will be. I'm always happy when I get a new Mission Impossible script or I hear that there's going to be a new one, because it means that I'm going to have some traveling and some fun to do.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.